What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're talking about one of my favorite additions to my collection in quite some time. I smelled this one on skin for the first time at Sephora a few months back, and I knew I had to have this at some point. We are talking about Paco Rabanne's 1 million Elixir. Big fan of this one. Currently on my skin. That's actually my scent of the day, and we're going to deep dive into this one. So stay tuned. Before we dive into the review, I want to thank perfumeonline.ca for sending this fragrance my way, so I was able to spend some time with it and bring this review to you guys. For those of you not familiar with perfumeonline.ca, they are Canada's #1 online discounter. They have competitive prices across all categories, from cheap Middle Eastern designers such as 1 million Elixir that we're talking about today, niche, you name it, they probably have it, including stuff like vintage fragrances, harder to find discontinued gems, and so on and so forth. So definitely check them out in the links below if you're interested in seeing what they have to offer or want to pick up 1 million Elixir. But let's get into this review. Take a quick look at the presentation before we dive into how it smells and performance. Standard 1 million stuff. When it comes to the box, this is a 50 ml. I don't need more than a 50 ml. I have a massive collection, and I'll probably never completely get through this bottle, even though I really enjoy it. Spoiler, I really like the fragrance. Batch code on the bottom. Paco Rabanne logo on the top. It's just a box. Then in regards to this bottle, again, standard fare for the 1 million bottle. You can see the fingerprints on the gold. It is a bit of a fingerprint magnet. It has that gold bar look. Says 1 million Elixir. Very dark glass, just like the original. Some more info on the bottom. Says Parfum Intense. And then the standard 1 million push button atomizer, which puts out quite a bit. Let's get into this scent. So I'll have the notes from Parfumo on screen. So this one's actually much more simplistic than you may believe. So there's apple and Havana here in the top with tonka bean in the heart. It is a very sweet fragrance. It's in the 1 million line. Of course it's sweet. It's a sweet fragrance line. But this one's not as cloyingly sweet, at least to me, as some of the others. Like, I believe 1 million Lucky to be sweeter than this, the original 1 million to be sweeter than this, just to give you two quick examples. It is kind of subdued. I get a lot of the woods here, a lot of the cedar wood. It's a smooth, rich, vanillic, fruity type of sweetness. So you get a little bit of fruitiness. It doesn't just straight up smell like apple, but it does have this fruity, sweet tone. And then the tonka bean vanilla combo kind of take over. It's not super powdery like tonka bean can be sometimes. It's more creamy and thick, vanillic sweet with a dense woody backbone. It's really that simplistic on my skin. Doesn't really develop a whole lot. Pretty two-stage. That fruitiness does calm down and the vanilla takes over with the woods. The woods kind of settle in, and there's even a little bit of a musky tone to it. There's patchouli in the base, but I don't really get a strong earthy tone. Just maybe a little bit that I don't pick up that just kind of blends in the background, I guess you could say. But I don't distinctively get a heavy hit of patchouli in any way, like a chocolatey tone or a creamy tone or a strong earthy presence. If anything, a little bit of an earthy tone to blend with the cedar wood, but this just smells fantastic, for lack of a better term. There's no real deep diving necessary in the scent portion of this review because it really is pretty straightforward with how it smells. Everything I just said is 100% what I get from it, and it's quite the enjoyable aroma. My wife, as on a side note, is a big fan of the way this one smells. She likes the sweet fragrances on me most of the time. She really enjoys blue fragrances and sweet fragrances on my skin, as I do. And I don't wear sweet stuff all the time, but I've really been enjoying this one. Ever since the first time I sprayed it, I knew I needed to add it to my collection at some point. Now I have a bottle, and I have been wearing it sporadically over the last few weeks because it just smells fantastic. Now, in regards to performance, it is a strong performer. This is another one that's every bit of 10 to 12 hours on my skin. In that beastly territory of longevity, I have not clocked it below like 11 hours really before I've taken a shower. And it could go potentially further than 12 hours. I just usually take a shower by that point. So once I take a shower, I stop clocking longevity on anything that I'm testing and or wearing as a full wear. So longevity is no issue. Projection is on the heavier side. I wouldn't call it an overwhelming room filler, but it's definitely well above average. I would call this kind of slightly heavy on the heavier side. If you spray this one heavy, yeah, I'm sure it can be cloying. I haven't done more than 5 sprays with this one, and it's really strong on me with 5 sprays. So the projection on this one is quite stout in the 2 to 3 hour range. I find it's pretty beastly. I wouldn't call it an absolute monster, but it's It's walking in that territory. It's in the ballpark of being a beast mode fragrance for sure. If I was to spray it a little bit heavier, I think it might be a little too much for me. I really do 4 sprays most of the time. I've only done 5 sprays once. And that's when I decided I don't need this much. 4 sprays is plenty. It's so strong. And in the sillage, it's on the moderate to heavy side. That's where the real beauty of this is in the sillage, because the projection doesn't calm down drastically once it settles into its consistent sillage scent bubble that you're going to get for the majority of the life of the fragrance. It's pretty strong. Every time I smell it, I get a nice strong hit of it for hours and hours and hours. So if you're looking for one that's pretty stout, dare I say a beast across the board, you're going to want to check out 1 Million Elixir. Final thoughts on 1 Million Elixir. I think this is a great fragrance. It's fantastic. For some, I could see this being their favorite version of 1 Million. Privé, the discontinued gem, is still my favorite. I don't know how easy it would be to dethrone that one in this line for me. But I'm a big fan of this one. I think it's a great fragrance. I really do. This is one that's worth trying. It's worth getting your nose on if you like sweet fragrances or any of the other 1 Million flankers. I think it's great at an 8.5 out of 10. This is good stuff. Absolutely sample worthy. You can sample it at Sephora, for example. That's the first time I sprayed it on my hand. Was at a Sephora, so get to your local Sephoras and try it out. Don't just spray it on a test strip. Spray it on your skin, spend a little time with it. You might end up wanting to grab a bottle because you can get it cheaper from perfumeonline.ca in the link below than you can from a place like Sephora. Well, that's my thoughts on 1 Million Elixir. Thank you once again to perfumeonline.ca for sending this my way. I'm so glad to add this one to the collection. This was on the bucket list / wish list for 2023 for sure. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. What are you guys thinking about 1 Million Elixir? How many of you have smelled it? How many of you have yet to try it? Did this review help you in any way, shape, or form? Was it just some random entertainment and you were just coming by to see me? I appreciate that just as much as this information being helpful for anyone. So definitely glad you guys came and checked out the video. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on this beautiful little gold brick, fake gold brick, it's made of plastic and glass, and you give it a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.